What's this? What's this? Shoe polish everywhere. What's this? Cheap and nasty in the air. What's this? I can't believe my eyes, I must be dreaming. Wake up, Chris, this isn't fair. What's this? What's happening, my fellow ghouls and ghoulettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Chris's Custom Collectibles, and today it is a Halloween edition. Today, we have some goodies from Big W that we're going to pimp out and do a nice little display of. So for the longest time, I've wanted to do something that has been themed around the Nightmare Before Christmas. It is a massive part of my childhood, going straight into adulthood. I think it still stands the test of time. The characters are brilliant, the design's brilliant, the music's brilliant, just everything is brilliant. The cool thing is about living in Australia these days, Halloween is more popular than ever. Gone are the days of trick-or-treating in the 90s, little Chris trying to trick-or-treat, knocking on doors, getting the door slammed in my face because they don't celebrate an American tradition. It's an Irish tradition, you fuckheads. But now, Halloween is huge. So whether it be Big W, Target, Kmart, bargain stores, all that type of stuff, the Halloween decorations are absolutely ridiculous and just a lot, but in the best way possible. Now, before we get to work, I just want to give a massive shout out to Jamie and Jay over at Wicked Makers here on YouTube, and thank you for the inspiration to do this build. They do some incredible builds on their channel where they take pre-existing Halloween decorations and turn them into beautiful animatronics and high-end displays. So guys, thank you once again for the inspiration for this particular build. So what we're gonna do is a Nightmare Before Christmas themed display. So what I have here is a hanging jack decoration with a wire arm. Now this cost me 20 bucks from Big W, 20 Aussie dollars. So what we're going to be doing is utilizing this fabric costume. We're going to be building Jack's body. We're going to be also utilizing this head, these arms as well. So it is a kind of like a posable foam with a wire in it. Also going to be sculpting some brand new shoes. So not only do we have Jack, but we also have Zero. This cost me 10 bucks as well and accompanies Jack. Zero! So Zero is going to be right next to Jack with the final display. And last but certainly not least, I couldn't believe I found something like this. I was looking for just some sort of a pumpkin. I saw a lot of glass pumpkins, pumpkin candles, and then in the dark crevices of the shelves where all the Halloween decorations are in Big W, I found this blank pumpkin. Just a blank pumpkin, black textured pumpkin, 8 bucks. So we're gonna carve in the jack-o'-lantern carvings like the main one you see in the Nightmare Before Christmas, and then do some textured painting to make it look like a realistic pumpkin. So we've got these 3 elements here. We're also going to be doing a dynamic base, so probably going to be a bit of cobblestones and some wrought iron fencing and stuff like that with the pumpkin on the ground. Really weather it, detail it, but obviously the main part is giving Jack Skellington his body, but also posable. So we're going to be utilizing the posable arms that come with it. So what we're going to do first is dismantle Jack, take the tags off all this, and then we can get to work carving out his torso and then obviously adding the limbs. So with that being said, let's get to it. We are back with some shitty commentary. So first step is we got to dismantle Jack, firstly by beheading him with that foam pipe coming out of his neck and also the tag. Now, like I said, I am going to be reusing these arms, and for some reason the foam was in 3 pieces. I don't know why. You see there, we're just taking out his torso and we're left with a lovely tailored suit. Like, I really do appreciate the craftsmanship that has gone into these pieces considering how cheap they were from Kmart. Now, I did actually go in and sew the suit a lot tighter, just so Jack has that nice lean form to him, because Jack has such strange limbs. Well, not strange, but just very long and very thin. Now, for his torso, I glued 2 pieces of styrofoam together and with some 40 grit sandpaper, and it also is a very phallic looking shape, but that's what I started with. We're gonna sand down until we have the form of Jack. And when I was finished, it actually looks like a bike seat. I kid you not. Check this out. There you go. That looks like a bike seat. But that is going to be Jack's torso. Now for his legs, I'm just going to be using PVC pipe. I don't want the legs to be bendable or posable. I just want them in place and Jack just standing upright. And we're just going to basically attach them with cheap and nasty and then back it up with some hot glue. Now you also have to be careful because sometimes it can melt the styrofoam. Now for his shoes, I've just got some hobby styrene and I've just carved out a basic shape. And now we're just going to sand it down to a nice little shoe shape ×2. Jack has very plain looking shoes. There's nothing detailed about them. Now I'm just filing in a hole and I'm going to thread through some balsa wood doweling, and those are going to act as pegs that will slot into the final display base. So I'm going to hot glue those in place. Now when it came to painting the shoes, I used shoe polish as opposed to acrylic paint, because shoe polish has a more of a water consistency and it's going to soak into that foam, as opposed to acrylic that would still leave bits of the green foam showing through. Now I'm just getting a white acrylic from Liquitex, a titanium white, and painting his neck. That is a new neck using the same balsa wood doweling. Now I'm just going to hot glue the arms back in place to the new styrofoam torso, as well as the head, and lock them all in place. Let them sit for a while because that hot glue does stay hot for quite some time. And also reusing and repurposing his beautiful bat bow tie and just sticking that in place. Very happy with how he turned out. Now, I did have to split the back of his suit to get that torso in, so I'm sealing it back up with some Gorilla Glue adhesive, some contact adhesive, and pinning it down in place. And I let that set once everything was pinned down in place on the back of his suit for about a good hour in the sun, just to make sure that all the gases had vented. Now, when it came to tracing out the cutouts on the pumpkin, I'm just using a lead pencil just so it shows up on the matte black texture. And I was going for that trademark pumpkin that we see throughout the film. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Now I got a Stanley knife and started very carefully, bit by bit, carving away all the pieces, the eyes, the nose, and the open mouth. Unfortunately, I did crack part of the open mouth, as you see right there, but a bit of cheap and nasty, and she's good as gold. And look at that, just tapping it there, you wouldn't even notice that it was cracked. Now I'm just using an orange Liquitex here, an acrylic heavy body Liquitex, and it actually complemented the black base really well. I wanted an older, kind of textured, almost on the verge of rotting looking pumpkin. I didn't want a fresh looking pumpkin. This is the Tim Burton universe after all, so I figured you gotta make it look a bit textured, and just dry brushing and working my way up, and then doing the stem with a nice burnt sienna. Now for the base, this cost me a total of $1.75 from Bunnings. I couldn't believe it. It was an absolute bargain. And there I've, in pencil, traced down the curved bricks that I want. And just with an angle grinder with the thicker attachment, we're going to go in and carve those brick grooves in, like the cobblestone look from Halloween Town. And if you stuff up, it doesn't matter. It just gives it a bit more charm and a bit more roughage. So just grabbing some more of that hobby styrene that I used for Jack's feet. And we're going to place 3 stones at the back there that's going to house our quote-unquote wrought iron fence. So I'm going to glue them down in place before we go in and start doing our base color. So I'm going to be going for a matte black, and I'm just chopping off the excess there. This is just a matte black and ivory black from Liquitex. So that is going to be our base color. So you don't have to exactly cover all of it, but I'm getting an ivory black and a titanium white, mixing them together and dry brushing all over the surface as our base kind of texture before we go in with a Duramax granite effect. I love this stuff. You can use it for so many projects. Now, I'm not just spraying it on and leaving it. I'm spraying it on and dabbing it into the surface, because it kind of gives a muddy looking texture when you start to mix all those grains together. Instead of just looking like road pavement, it just looks like it's all soiled and uneven, and that's what you want. You don't want a sense of unity or looking uniform for a setting like this. So I'm just gonna hot glue the pumpkin in place because I want it there stuck on and kind of plastered down to the base. Now I'm actually going to get some good old-fashioned pottery soil from the fiance, there's Gus in the background, and mix it with some PVA glue. And now we're going to go down and just start to kind of sporadically place it in certain areas where there'd be built up mud and stuff like that if it had been raining in Halloween Town, and also like chunking it around the bottom of the pumpkin. Again, I want this pumpkin looking like it's about to start rotting, so it's been there for a good couple of days and stuff has kind of grouped under it. Now, this is twisty tie stuff that you use on your garden hose. I got this from Bunnings, couple of bucks, and you get like a couple of meters of it. So this is going to be our wrought iron fence, and the cool thing is, because it's posable, you can make it look all bent and stuff like that, and that's exactly what I'm going for. But I'm gluing it together with some cheap and nasty super glue, and then it's all slotted in place. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to bend it, and then once I'm happy with how it looks all bent up, I'm then going to take it out of the slots and we're then going to use a Duramax rust effect. So I've used this stuff on the Michael Myers Halloween Ends knife to make it look all rusty, but I'm going to put it on with a brush instead of spraying it on, because that way, again, you can control it, you can make it look sporadic and uneven, so some parts are more cleaner than others and other parts look more rusted. And then we're going to permanently hot glue that in place. So I just got my Dremel, my Ryobi rotary tool for that matter, and bored those holes in, just backing it up with some more glue, and also getting some hobby flocking, some flocking grass, just like bits of moss and stuff like that would indeed be hanging around the base there. Now, this is a floral accessories wire that also acts as a vine, so I just wanted to wrap that around the fence at one point, have it hanging off one side of the fence, and also laying it down on the ground, much like what I did with the amp suit from Avatar with that build. I loved it, just a nice little touch. And I found this tombstone at Spotlight for $5. Just give it a quick little dry brush with that same ivory black and titanium white mixture, and then I screwed that in place on the back of the base. Just a nice little touch, staying with the notion of Halloween Town. Now this is just an olive green oil color, just to make it appear a bit more mossy and stuff like that, and break up the monotony of just the flat gray look to it. And I was so happy and so glad I found that on a whim. Now I'm just going to get a tiny piece of hobby doweling and glue that into Zero's butt, because he's going to be on a stem, and we're just going to pop that in place in a pre-drilled hole on the base, as well as 2 other pre-drilled holes for Jack's feet with those balsa wood dowels. And it's time for the final reveal. And there we have it, guys. A few cheap Halloween accessories from Kmart, Big W, and Spotlight can go a long way. I had so much fun with this build, and I finally have a Jack Skellington display. One I've always wanted since I was a little kid. Again, a massive thank you to Jamie and Jay over at Wicker Makers for the inspiration for this video. Wherever you are in the world, please have yourselves an absolute cracker of a day. Hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, Ghouls and Ghoulettes, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.